Hi, this is a video in which I'm going to be talking about the sex ratio, how to compute it, and how to use it. The sex ratio is something quite simple. It is just the number of men for the number of women. You can use a regular percentage and say 50% are men or 60% are men or something like that. You don't need to use the sex ratio. But when we talk about birth, then we do always use the sex ratio because this biological regularity where there's more babies that are male born than females, and we talk about the sex ratio of 105 to 107, and that is a regularity of populations. So when we study births, we tend to use the same measure. How do we compute it? Well, we need just information on the sex of babies at birth, and we have it in this table, where we have the births and the population in Copenhagen according to Statistics Denmark. We have males and females for both legitimate and illegitimate children, and in a previous step we have already added them up. See here, that is just adding up the two columns to get males and females. So the computation of the sex ratio, it is extremely straightforward. You just write the total boys over the total of girls, and we multiply by 100 because that is how this measure is explained. As with every other function, we just drag it down, and here it is for all of them. Just let me just do it nicely. And here we have the sex ratio. So what we can do is just plot it and then see how it looks like. And here we go. Here. So see that automatically Excel has decided for us the scale, and here it goes from 94 to 112, which seems to say that there's a huge difference between them. But think about the scale. Maybe you can actually change the scale. See here, what happens if instead of taking the minimum of 94, we just make it to 96. And instead of taking 112, we go to 110. Suddenly the difference are much larger, and we could actually make them even larger. Let's just go to 98. So it seems that things are changing all over this period, when actually the variation, it is not that great. Maybe a better way could be just put something, if 100 is what we're looking at, let's just say something like 85 and 115. And then, suddenly things seem to be much more reasonable. But think about that, we're starting from 100. So this is maybe not the best measure. So what about if we start from 0? Wow, suddenly nothing's happening whatsoever. The sex ratio is flat, which in fact it is what happens. There's almost no variability, and the variability can actually be explained by the low numbers. See that we have only something like 7,000 for each boys and girls, so it may be that all these small variations are caused by just random number of births. In class we've talked about Libibachi. He has a very nice table in which you can use as a reference of when it is possible that we are dealing with a really regular sex ratio. But in general, it shouldn't be. In any case, how to deal with this? Because this graph is not nice either. So I would recommend you just to forget about a graph and just try to do something better.